Hey everyone, it is Thursday and I'm getting my pricing done and out of the way, but I made a couple of things yesterday that I wanted to share with you before I pack it all up and then it's gone. So I did one strawberry keychain using the chenille brights. I think if I do it again, I will take one of the rounds of 6 off of here because I don't know, I don't care for the shape. But you know what? I don't like strawberries anyways, so, I'm just one of those weird people. What can I tell you? Then I did my last thing that I needed to have for Friday's market, and that was a little voodoo doll. They wanted it to be about the size of the mini scrump, so I just used the mini scrump pattern. They wanted it in browns, reds, blacks, so hopefully they like it. I mean, they weren't real super descriptive about what they want, and I'm going to charge the same price as the mini scrump, and if they don't like it, I'll just throw it in with the scrumps. Not a big deal. So this is finished. Scrump is much cuter. I have to say the mini scrump is much cuter. So we have that. So that's just a couple of small things. And really that's all I got done was a few small things. Mary shared with me this Instagram pattern for a small jellyfish. And I was looking for something to put in my Safer for Baby section. So we made some jellyfish. This one is using a Bernat Dappled, and it just happened to change the color. It started with this orange. It's kind of like a creamsicle. Started with this orange and then went to this lighter color. I think it looks really pretty like that. And then I did the embroidered eyes and I was like, oh my gosh, are they too big? But the more I look at it, the more I like it. So it goes in the baby safe section. We did this one. And this one is out of one of the tie-dye colors from the basic chenille brights. And this one I polished off the last little bit of mauve that I had left. And then I had a small thing of periwinkle. So it's kind of pink and blue. Looks a little odd, but those eyes just make it look cute. So I didn't get a lot of the baby safe stuff done that I think I should have gotten done. But I wasn't really concentrating on that. I don't know why, but I wasn't. So we have 3 to add to that rack. Plus I have all the Oak and Marlowe Fable collection that are all made without safety eyes. So I do have some items. I do have some. Not a ton, but I have some. And then, of course, all the loveys that I have. And there's only one lovey that has safety eyes on it. It is one of the Pokemon, and it has big, giant eyes. Then the last thing that I was able to get made yesterday, and again, I have not crocheted anything yet today because I've been pricing. Seems like I waited too long, but I feel like I've been pricing as I go, but maybe not. Is one of my cookie mice. I decided to do it as a girl, give it a little bow on its ear, and I was using up the mauve, and this is off-white, and I gave her pink eyes to match her little outfit and her bow. I think she turned out adorable. And I was going to make 2. But after the first one, I was like, this gives me 2. So I have 2 to take to market. I really need to work on some of the things like the no safety eyes. And I had to get this done. So, I don't know, you guys. I feel like my brain... the creative side of my brain is being pulled in all different directions, and I just don't know what I want to be working on. So the last thing I want to share with you in this little clip is, I've been talking about it for 2 videos now, a pattern test that I did. And I was asked to wait for the weekend to show it, so that is not a big deal. I was fortunate to set aside the time to be able to do a pattern test, because I do enjoy doing testing. I may not necessarily enjoy the big chat groups that are super active, but I do like the process of testing. So this was like a little treat for me to do this. But anyways, let me show you what I have. I tested, and you know, I should look up the name of this. I really should. Oh my goodness, I'll type it in on the screen because, yeah, I dropped the ball again. Okay, so this pattern is by Katie, the Celestial Homebody, and she's starting a new series, I guess you could say. And she'd asked me, she says, I know you're busy, but she was wondering if I would like to test. So she gave me access early to the pattern than the rest of the testers had, so that I could, you know, try and work it in to the schedule. So like once I finished those Sanderson sisters, I did this. This was a treat for me to be able to do the pattern test. Now, in her pattern, she does embroidered eyes, but I asked if it was okay if I use safety eyes. She said yes. So I gave 35mm safety eyes, and it is quite big. It has some long legs. I think if I do it again, and depending on how this goes at market, will determine on whether or not I do. I mean, they're really cute. She had the choice of this deer or fawn, whatever, or bunny. And I picked this one. Mainly because I liked the colors that she showed it in, and I kind of stuck with the same colors, except I used rust. This is forest green. This is the winter white, chocolate. But if I were to make it again, I would probably take a few rounds from the bottom of the legs and make it look like a hoof, like it has shoes. Because the legs are so long, I just thought that might break it up a little bit and make them not look so long. But at the same time, I don't think the body would look right without the long legs, if you know what I mean. It's very cute. There were only a couple of things in the pattern which have now been corrected that were a little confusing, but it wasn't hard to figure out, but she's corrected that. And these are now available, I'm pretty sure, in her Etsy and on her website. I'll have the link posted for you, so you'll be able to find it that way. But they're really cute. I mean, it was written pretty well, you know, and I didn't have to worry too much about face shaping because I used the sinker eyes, and that helped right all by itself with giving the face shape. So let me think. You only have to sew on the ears. I think it's been like a week and a half. The antlers are crocheted in the round. The ears, I'm pretty sure it's just the ears that get sewn in. But, I mean, the body has such a cute heart shape. And it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. So, now this gets to get packed away because I was finally able to spill the beans. Gets to be packed away in a market bag along with all my other stuff that I have made which is a little more than I thought, but not as much as I would have liked to it have been. But pack it away with all the stuff that I have made in the last 2 weeks to take to market. And there's a baby kitty walking in here. Come here, baby. Come here. Little peanut head, come here. Kitty, kitty. Come here. Come on. Come say hi to everybody. Come here. Yes. Yes. Look who came to visit us. This is a little peanut head. He's got that little teeny tiny head. Oops, it's okay. It's okay. He, she, it. This one is a good one. It will be out in the living room and make its way all the way back to the hall by the laundry room to find the litter box at such a young age. It's doing very well. Come on, you got to get down. Come on. Come on. Okay. He's on my shoulder, and I have to get him down. But this one's a good kitty. See anybody looking for a kitty? He's a good one. He's potty training real well. Come on, get off my back. Go. Go. All right. Got him off. Away he goes. You're okay. But that one's a good one. He took to potty training real well, and they're already starting to eat solid foods, so that's pretty cool. Mama Kitty will get a break here soon. Okay, well, I gotta go. I gotta get back to pricing and bagging this stuff up. Such a task. Such a task. It's a good thing my markets are so close together, because otherwise I would just make and set it aside, and then I'd have one heck of a task of pricing. But I did not do that. Because they're close together, at least every 2 weeks my pricing is getting done. I should do it daily. That would be the way to do it, and then I would never have this hanging over my head, and it would be so much faster. But, we don't always do what we should, if you know what I mean. All right, I'm going to go, and yeah, we'll be back at some point. Hello everyone, it is Sunday, 2 days after my market. I had to have a day to recover. Like every muscle in my body hurt Friday night by the time that was all done and said. But as you can see, or as you did see in the little clips that I was able to get, I had a few new things to work with at the market. So we got there a little bit early because I didn't quite know how long it was going to take to set this up. And I had ordered new shelves because I was watching Christine from What's Up Cupcake. And I've had my eye on these types of shelves for a while because they're like accordion. They just pull out and you flip the top shelf over and it latches into place. But what I didn't like about them is they looked like they were really deep and they didn't have a backing on them. Well, neither do my wood ones. They don't have a backing on them either. And they're easy to set up. You just open up the two sides and the little shelves drop down. But I was concerned because of double stacking those. Even though we have them tied to the top, I was afraid that, kids would climb it and pull it down on themselves. But anyway, so I was watching Christine's and she just happened to get the right angle where you could get a good look at how the depth of the shelves. And I'm like, okay, those aren't as bad as I thought they were. So that helped a lot. And she used these things on the backing. They're like a shelf liner. She has them in her like Amazon storefront. So I bought the two shelves. They were supposed to be here on Monday. Then I got updated shipping notifications saying they wouldn't be here till Friday, which Friday is the day I would have needed them. But they showed up Wednesday, I think it was. So I didn't really have time to get the canopy tent out and the tables and all that to sit there and try to play with the configuration of how to set this up. And no matter what I did on paper, I printed out some graph paper and was trying to figure it out from there. And no matter what I did, I couldn't come up with a way to do it and still have room for me and for John. Because if you happen to be in a location that the people are back to back, there is no extra space. You have to get everything up underneath the canopy. And that was the goal. So my spot, it's like I have two facings like this, and I want to utilize that. Last month when I had it like that, even though it was a little awkward, it seemed to flow better, like it was easier for people to get in and see, because when you have it set up like the U and they have to walk inside, you saw the one clip with all the people in the booth. that's how it was almost the entire night. It's too crowded. It needs to be open somehow. So I might have to, instead of having 2 6-foot tables, go to a 6 and a 4. I would only lose 2 feet. But with the new shelves, I picked up 4 extra shelves, I believe it is, because the other ones each had 3, so that was 6. And then these each have 5. So yeah, 4 extra shelves on it. So I'm really not losing any space. And because I got the checkout stand, I wanted to be able to use the checkout stand. So I might have to, I was trying to get rid of the 4-foot table because it's one of those where one person has to press in the little tabs and the other person has to pull up the legs, because it's an adjustable height. It's painful to set those up, and I cannot do it by myself. It takes 2 of us. So I might have to go from 2 6-foot tables to a 6 and a 4 with the new shelves, which I really liked. And what I ended up doing was I took the grids from my cubed shelving and I used Velcro zip ties and put 2 together in the center and then put them on the back and zip tied them around the poles of the shelf so nothing could fall back in. So that was a little awkward to set up because it was my first time doing it. It'll work until I find a different way to have a backing on it. But for now, it's working. It takes me a few extra minutes, but nowhere near as long as it took me to actually assemble those cubes at a market. So there is that. And I had gotten myself, the checkout stand, which I had, but last Friday night was the first time I used it. Then I got myself this little swivel iPad stand so that it's at a better angle. And of course, the first time I go to swivel it and turn it for somebody to punch in their phone number so they get a text receipt, I have one of these little containers that I put all the tags in. I knock it over and all the tags go all over the place. And I'm just like, I didn't do that. Didn't do it. But yeah, it was a busy night. Tons of people. We sold 20 items, I think it is, less than the time before. And they were buying mostly lower priced items. But it was still a good market. It was still a really good market. So if I have pictures, I'll put in a picture when I tell you what I sell. If I don't, it's because I'm a total slacker and did not get pictures. Like, And before we get into the breakdown, I just want to do a reminder that Shannon's new spluter patterns, the Highland Cow and the Pig, which I can never remember their actual names, like they give them like a human name on the patterns, and I can't ever remember those. But they both went live, active, whatever, this weekend. So those are available. And spoiler alert, the Highland Cow sold. First time out, and it's sold. So let's get into this breakdown. Because we got there early, we were set up with plenty of time before the market starts. The market goes from 5:30 to 9:30. So we were done like maybe 4:45, which is fine because then you get a chance to relax and chill and, get yourself ready for the events of the night. But we were ready. So at 4:57, my very first sale, and you will not believe it, was a jumping spider. I was shocked. So that was pretty cool. And then the next sale came at 5:15. The market still isn't open yet. And it was a mallard on a swing from All From Jade's Water Animals pack. Now the market's open. At 5:36, we sold one of the Poggies place cat in a bed. One of these. And there's a story behind that, why I even have one to show you on hand. So we sold the cat in the bed. At $5.37, we sold a plant on a swing, you know, a plant hanger, and a mallard on a swing. Then at $5.49, we sold a Pokemon Eevee. At $6.03, you're going to start to notice a trend here soon. At $6.03, we sold a yellow chick on a swing and a blueberry keychain. At $6.24, we sold a Pokemon Pikachu. At $6.26, strawberry keychain, which was a new keychain that was just made. At 6:34, we sold a puppy with the bed and a rainbow bee. I know, those bullet bees. I'm like, hello. At 6:35, 2 chicks and an egg. At 6:47, Crochet Grove's Flamingo. At 6:48, a Pokemon, one of the evolutions. I want to say it was the blue with the fins, and it was one of the harder ones. And then at 6:51, we sold another Pokemon evolution. I think it was the yellow one, and Pokemon Leafeon. At 6:53, if I'm going through this too fast, I'm sorry. But it could take a while. At 6:53, we sold one of the little dachshund dogs, the pattern where it has the sweater, but I do it without the sweater. Then at 6:53, we sold a Pokemon Mew. At 6:54, we sold Pokemon Charmander. At 6:55, we sold an elephant on a swing, and that was, I used Avery Crafts-A-Lot's elephant and All From Jade's swing. At 6:56, puppy in a bed. At 6:59, this one was a multi-item transaction. We sold 2 of Crochet Grove's mini Brontosaurus, and that was the first time I took them to market. They were sitting behind me next to the big pillow cat and the nice dragon. I've sat them over there and kind of forgot about them. So when I was getting things together, I'm like, oh, I need to take these. One of Stacy makes, Gail the Gator, I think it's Gail, the one in the overalls, and a rubber duck or dashboard duck. So that was a nice transaction. At 7:03, we sold Nibbles, the Cookie Mouse, the boy version. Now by this time, I need to use the restroom, so John has to take over. He forgot his glasses, so he couldn't see anything. So I come back from the restroom, and I'm like, oh, what'd you sell? And it said $12, so I just assumed that it's a Pokemon. I'm like, was it a Pokemon? He's like, no, it was a chick on a swing. And I'm like, well, those are 10. So I go into the transactions to see what it is, and he rang it up as a loaf unicorn, which I did not have any of. And he overcharged the customer by $2. He says, Well, the tag said number 158, and that's what I punched in. And I'm looking at the tag, so I'm like, you mean this one that says 138? So it's like, dude, you have to have your glasses. I even offered him mine if they would have worked for him if I had to run to the restroom, and they did not work for him. So that person, if they ever come back, I will give them the $2 off of the next item that they want to purchase. Then at 7:24, we sold one of the mini octopus from All From Jade, the little octopus that goes with the big mama octopus. And at 7:31, we have an axolotl on a swing and a yellow chick on a swing. Have you noticed the pattern yet? At 7:34, we sold one of the 2 blue K-pop tigers, which when I put my display up, I put Rumi way up on the top shelf on the inside so that people couldn't pull from the back side, like on the left instead of on the right, because the right side, the back of the tables were not the way I wanted it. But that was where people could reach over and try to shop from the wrong side of the tables. And as crowded as it got inside the booth, you can't really blame people for that. So I have to figure out how to set this up. But anyways, so I had Rumi up on the top shelf, and I put the 2 blue tigers right with it so that people would make the connection. And let me tell you, it was so cute. These girls, you know, like 8 to, say, 12 age range, they'd come in, and of course, they're not tall enough to reach up there, and that's one of the reasons that it was up there. They see that, and then like, oh, it's Rumi! And, you know, they all loved it. It was, the expressions on some of them, it was just priceless. Just priceless. Okay, then at 7:38, we sold a penguin on a swing. At 7:41, we sold the pink Kirby keychain that I just made and a stingray keychain. At 7:43, we had a multi-purchase transaction, all small items. 1 mini platypus, which is Avery Crafts a Lot's pattern. 1 pickle keychain, which was just me freehanding a pickle. And 1 spider keychain, which is All From Jade's little free spider that she has on Instagram. And it comes out small enough that I just attach it to a keychain. At 7:44, Dad comes back in, and he buys Rumi for her Christmas gift. And I'm like, boy, am I lucky that I thought about it this year, and I brought bags with me that are not see-through so that he could make it through that market and nobody be the wiser of what it is. And the bags did not have like a label or anything like that on them, so it was just a plain like brown paper boutique style bag. So it was very generic, so he could, like, whoever he's shopping with is not going to have any idea of where he made his purchase. So it keeps it a secret for Christmas. And that was really cool. The Rumi doll, at first I wasn't sure what I should price it at. My brain was telling me, oh, you know, $40 to $45. I don't know. I really don't know. And I just kind of put it out there to see, like, what kind of suggestions I might get in the comments. I had a few people say you could get at least $50 for it. I had someone say $80 for it. Then I was discussing it with Mary, and I ended up putting it at $65. So it did sell the first time out at $65. So maybe the person who said $80 was close to where it should be because it sold absolutely no problem. Then, that was so exciting. Then at 7:46, we sold 2 of the Rainbow Bees, Bullet Bees, which is a free pattern from All From Jade. At 7:47, we sold another cat in a bed. And this was probably one of my favorite transactions of the night. The lady, probably about my age, and her daughter were in there, and they were getting a cat, and they were, the lady was saying how they're going to be getting a cat soon, but she was waiting for her husband to get back in town, and they were going to go pick it out together. But she was getting one of the little cats in the bed so that she could send him a picture and say she got a cat without him, just as a little joke. So when she was saying that, I happened to mention that, about Mama Kitty and the kittens, and showed her a little video clip that I had of the kittens, a picture of Mama, and she's like, "Oh, they're so cute, how much do you want for them?" I'm like, "Nothing, just a good home for them. I don't want any money for them." They were going to pay between $700 and $1,200 for a cat. And I'm like, really? I would never. There are too many kittens out there. But anyways, so I gave her my card, my phone number, and she sent me a text yesterday saying when her husband was going to be in town. And of course, one of the dates is a market for me. So the day after that market, they're going to come and take a look at the kittens. And hopefully, and she says, are they all up for adoption? So I'm not sure if that's because she already has her eye on one of them, or if she's thinking she wants more than one. So hopefully this works out and the babies will get a new home. They will be close to 9 weeks old by the time she comes to see them. So they'll be more than ready to be taken away from Mama. But that was fun. I mean, we had a great conversation about cats. Then at 7:51, we sold the second and last Gail the Gator, the one in the overalls from Stacy Makes, and another jumping spider. Who knew? Then at 7:52, this couple came in and they purchased from me last year at a Christmas market at the Pioneer Museum, and they bought 2 loveys, and they just happened to be in the booth when I let go at this teenager that stood in there for about 10-15 minutes just complaining about how expensive everything was. And I finally had enough, and I said to her, well, just how much do you think I should charge? If we went by minimum wage, blah, 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 and this takes this many hours, it should be such and such, and here's my price, and they're not overpriced. But they just happened to be there when they happened, and I'm amazed that they bought from me. But they were at this market last night, and they bought another lovey. And it was the bee from Marcia at Mimi Makes Keepsakes. I tested that pattern for her, so that bee lovey has found a home. Then, the very next transaction was the Highland Cow, the Spluter, that I just made, the new pattern by Snugglebeans Crochet, and first day out, and it found a home. And I even went up a little bit on my price on those. I'm learning, you guys, I'm learning. Then at 7:59, we sold a chicken and egg. At 8:04, we sold a new frog keychain and a mushy boy keychain. Then at 8:05, it says miscellaneous keychains. So that is one that I never planned to make again. It might have been a little small item. And I just threw it on a keychain and just put it in there at miscellaneous to try and move it out. Then at 8:05 as well, we sold the mini loaf cat kitten on a keychain and a pickle keychain. At 8:08, we sold one Myrtle the turtle. And then at 8:10, my last Labubu bag charm. So that's gone. That I won't be making those anymore. At 8:13, a mini bird mallard from the section that is for safer for babies, 3 and under. Then at 8:18, we sold another puppy in a bed. At 8:23, we sold the last small Night Fury that I had. At 8:25, we sold a Madeline Mako koala and a frog on a swing. At 8:28, oh, and this was funny. This lady comes in and she's looking at the Pokemon and she's like, how come nobody ever has? And then she stops mid-sentence and picked up Snorlax, and that's what she was looking for. She's like, nobody ever has Snorlax. So at 8:28, Snorlax was sold. At 8:32, we sold a squid keychain. At 8:46, a rubber duck. At 8:57, now this has to do with why I have a cat in a bed to show you. This little girl and her mom, they were probably in the booth 4, maybe 5 times. And even John commented, he's like, they've been in here a lot of times and they just look like they're so upset about something. So after the last time they were in, I mean, I couldn't make out what they were saying to each other, but they go to leave. Then the mom comes back in. Would I consider making something and shipping it? Because the first time they were in, the little girl spotted one of the cats in a bed, and it was a black and white cat in a pink bed. And it sold. And she was upset because, mom didn't buy it the first time around, but as a parent, you have to walk the kid through the whole thing just in case, because if they buy the first thing they see, 3 booths down the way, they're going to want something else. So a lot of the parents, and it's smart to do, is they walk them all the way through, let them look, and then they can say, okay, I really wanted to get that whatever at whichever booth. So the little girl was upset, and the mom was feeling like the worst mom in the world, so I agreed to do it. I just guesstimated it's going to be like $5 in shipping, because otherwise I would have, I suggested coming to the market next Friday, but she's going to be out of town on a cheer competition, so she just pay for shipping. So I made 2 different versions of black and white cats in a light pink bed because that's what she wanted. Sent them a picture and let her pick which black and white cat she wanted. So that is done, and it'll be packaged up and ready to go out in Monday's mail. So at least the last time they were in, they left smiling. So that was nice that I was able to do that. And then at 9:01, right after that, another cat in the bed. At 9:02, it was a Pokemon Squirtle and a Pokemon Lapras, which I think that one was like the one that kind of looked like a turtle type thing. I don't know. That one's was an odd one. That one I was actually questioning whether or not it was really a Pokemon, and I had to go and look. Then at 9:18, a frog on a swing. At 9:27, a chicken and egg. And then the market ends at 9:30. But at 9:44, we made one last sale. And it was the pink whale shark. So I am completely out of sharks now. But it's not Shark Week anymore. So I'm not like extremely worried about making sharks as I am about making car swings, because they wiped me out. When we left there, I had 2 frogs and 2 plants on a swing. All the rest of them were gone. Absolutely just wiped me out. The Pokemon pretty much got wiped out again. I don't know. Okay, so what are my best sellers? If I lump them together by category. Category-wise, we sold 47 plushies. Hold on. I have to switch to the different screen. Okay. So it was 47 plushies, but technically that was 46 because of the mishap with the one swing. And then for the swings, we sold 10, but technically 11. I would have swore I had more than that on swings, but 11. And then 13 keychains. So keychains and swings were good. 1 Lubby, 1 uncategorized, which is making the cat for the person. But yeah, so the best sellers, if I lump it together as just plain Pokemon, was Pokemon with 11 sales. But there was various characters. So if you leave that out of the picture, the top seller was chicken eggs at 4. And then a 3-way tie between puppies and well, no, because technically the cat in a bed is 4 because of the custom order. So chicks and eggs and cats in bed tied with 4. And then puppies in the beds and those bullet bees tied with 3 each. There were several items that had 2, like the Crochet Grove Brontosaurus. Okay, maybe not. The Brontosaurus, the Jumping Spider, Gale the Gator, the Dashboard Ducks. You know, so there were a few that had 2, but it was a total of 54 transactions. Of the 54 transactions, only 2 people did not want a bag. So I ran out of small bags. I ran out of my cutesy little plastic bags that I like to use. The small paper bags, the cutesy little plastic bags, I mean, it was to the point where I'm using kind of a large bag for a very small purchase because I ran out. We went through a lot of bags. So the total gross sales before fees was $945. 83% of my sales were on card or square for $786. 17% of it was cash at $159. My card fees were, and I swear they're always high, but it comes out to like 3.4%, $26.71, leaving me with $918.29, and then you still have to take the $70 booth fee out. So, I think overall it was a successful market. I am not unhappy with it at all, except for my setup. I have to come up with a better way to set that up. I think if people didn't feel so closed in and crowded in, that sales would be better. Like, if they don't feel trapped. So the only way I can figure I can do that is to change to the 4-foot table instead of 2 6-foot tables. It might be enough to make the difference. Maybe. Maybe. So I will have to play with that. I have a month to figure it out, because that specific location is the one where I have that issue. It's such a busy market, and I do have, it's like having 2 facings, and I need to be able to utilize it so that traffic flows better. And there's a place for John and I to be. So that is what I have. I have a ton of stuff to get made. I need to restock my swings, restock my keychains again, restock the puppies in the bed, restock the cats in a bed. I want to make some more of the K-pop dolls. I need to make another splooting cow. I never got to the pig. I have a lot I want to get done, and no pressure. No pressure. All right, we'll see you guys in Monday night's live with Heather, and I think that we are on my channel this week. Pretty sure. So we will see you then.